to my dismay, I can't say that it's with us. But man, I appreciate how you always, want to set the tone with, and where you at with, how you feeling?
Right.
What's your state of being right now?
Likewise.
Because when you think about how people generally interact, people greet in in these robotic ways. Those people will ask you how you're doing, but they're not really interested in how you're doing. Just look at how people are really using it as a substitute for like,
They be like, "How you doing?" And you be like,
yeah,
"You be like, how you doing?" They be like, "What's up?"
I
They
don't,
don't even answer the question.
I don't even answer it because I know they don't genuinely mean
How
how
you
are
doing?
you doing.
Mm.
That's a real question,
Mm.
and I think when people do answer it, a lot of times they're not answering it honestly either.
Mm.
You know?
Good.
Yeah, it's always good.
Good. What's up with you?
Almost always good, and it's not always. It's oftentimes not true how people. It's not how people truly feel.
So let's start there. How
Yeah.
are you?
I feel I'm hungry. That's a real feeling.
Honest.
I'm feeling hungry. I also feel accomplished in some things. I also feel like I'm not giving the right amount of attention to certain things.
Mm.
So,
You want to dive on that? What you not giving the right amount of attention to?
well, some of my personal business, as it relate to like sitting down with you and even going over some of this program stuff that we need to be discussing.
That we definitely was.
Yeah, and that, trust me, the only reason I would even move slothfully on that is because I know we would be launching at the beginning of the next school year. I know.
Yes, and when you said that, I was thinking to myself, obviously, because we would need time to show some type of proof of concept, to have a plan in line, to actually have black and white to show these folks, like, yo, this is what we want to do. This is our plan. We're going to, the first 3 weeks there in the class, these are the things we're going to tackle.
Yeah.
Then from there, we're going to tackle these. And by the end, this is what they should have learned and should be able to take away with.
Yeah, I definitely have a skeleton and some meat on the bones of what you're delineating right now. So that's the good thing.
Delineating.
Yeah. What?
That's it. Hold on. Before we go too far, I almost said welcome back, but this is actually.
Yeah, I ain't been going nowhere, man.
Not even welcome back to you, but I mean like to our guests who will be listening and watching. We've never done this, so it's not a welcome back. It's a welcome.
It's a welcome. It's a bienvenidos.
Bienvenidos.
Bienvenidos. It's welcome.
I like that.
We're glad to have y'all here, and we don't say that just because it's a pleasantly cordial, formal thing to say.
Right.
We
mean that.
Genuinely, sincerely are gracious to have you with us because
we do this by ourselves all the time.
We do, and it may be cliche, but you could be really doing something else.
You could.
You really could be to be absorbed by something that we're putting forward, and for it to sustain your attention. I don't take that lightly, especially in today's age, because things are moving fast. It's always the newest, the latest, the greatest, the biggest, the tallest, the fastest. And so you're in constant competition with all of these other external factors that I think are exuberant.
That are trying to entertain you and take your attention away.
Yeah. And so even when I was in a classroom, and I know we kind of moving around here, but when I was in the classroom, I was hyper aware of the fact that I needed to be interesting. It wasn't like, oh, I know I'm smarter than you. I know more than you, and you need this information.
So for more background, you're saying when you were like teaching in the class, not as a student.
Right. No, I wasn't a student. Right. I was a paraprofessional educator. And my principal said, you all are going to teach. Your certification is for you to be able to teach. You all are not going to be the kind of paraprofessional educators.
That's what
she said, y'all going to be in these classrooms
teaching.
And y'all going to be teaching all of the subjects.
And that's some of these videos you got real. I was like, damn, that's pretty dope.
Look, man, I had so much. And I was in a school that was in a refugee resettlement area. So Clarkston, Georgia is a refugee resettlement area. Many of my students have come from and I missed them, so I'm going to go see them. But meaning they come from all over the world. A very less than 10% of our students were from America. So
a lot of what they call immigrants.
Yes, and it was exciting teaching them. It was exciting helping them learn the language. I built relationships with those families that one time I was traveling, I was in Chicago and I saw a family, they got all their hijabs on and they're like, oh, Mr. Gordon! And everybody on the plane look like, how does this nigga know these ones?
Yeah.
Those women don't genuinely just embrace men and hug men anyway. When they fully jobbed up, the whole family.
They
so
pretty
to see those young girls
conservative.
Yeah, man, very yes.
They're usually pretty conservative.
Yeah, they are. So
and you said Mr. Gordon. I realized we haven't even introduced our names ourselves.
Okay.
You want to start?
Aaron Isaiah. I mean my last name out there now, but people know me as Aaron Isaiah or AI.
AI. I'm go by Rob. Nobody really knows me as Rob the Prophet, but in my heart, that's you know.
I mean, some people be gung ho about these titles. Have you spoken, had visions of or pre-told events and they happened?
Okay. Even as a kid, before I even realized that's what was happening, it used to scare me. I used to think about something and not even think about it, but the thought would be put there and I would feel it. And once I felt it, I knew it was real. Because I can think something and not feel it and then it wouldn't happen. But if I thought it and felt it, it happened. It personified itself.
Did you ever see these sort of visions of other people, events happening with other people, and share it with those people before they happened?
No.
I've done that. That was scary. Not scary, but
not like in the beginning. But I have in my life so far. Yes, I will feel and see something, but it depends on what it is. Because I think we are manifestors of our own thoughts sometimes.
Yeah,
and,
definitely.
You know,
and especially in combination when we feel that thing.
When we feel it too.
That's the other man. When it came, I remember hearing about The Secret.
The book.
And I read it. I remember realizing that when I would talk to certain people about it, they were missing that part.
Yeah,
they were just seeing it. It's like, okay, I can see it, but can you feel it too?
Because they think just saying it over and over again too.
Which the whole affirmations thing kind of got ran down because it's like, no, you can keep talking it all day long, but do you even feel a resonance with that?
Does it resonate?
Does it have any resonance with you? Because that then builds us almost like an anticipation.
Right.
You actually have a certain degree of expectation of a thing.
Right.
Because there's been such a connecting force between seeing it and feeling it. So, and that then here it is where you turn around and underscore that with what your experience has been, how the combination of the two is when the manifestation of that occurred.
Because it's a difference to think something than to believe it. You know? You could think all the time.
Ooh, I like that.
Yeah.
See, that's simple, but not really though, because if you ask the average person to distinguish the difference in an explanation,
that's actually, belief?
Yeah, you got to have a certain kind of vocabulary to even break that down in a way that's cogent and clear to who you may be explaining it to.
Yeah. Because a thought doesn't require action, belief does.
Yeah, but while we're on the subject of these various cognitive activities, I had the most breathtakingly beautiful dream the other night.
Okay.
And it was a lucid dream, so I was aware I was dreaming.
Where you was dreaming? You was controlling things?
I could hear myself and feel myself saying,
Ooh, I feel like this is a great time to light the blunt. Go ahead, I want to hear this.
When I think something's profound, I make sounds. Even if I'm watching a movie or something, it don't matter. Like I probably am ever mute if I hear something and feel it too deeply.
Yeah.
And so I was able to take flight. I was able to
flying.
Yes, I literally just willed it, and I was in the air.
Yeah,
and I went as high as I want, and I was.
And you're aware that you're dreaming at
this
time.
Yes, I had just peed. I wouldn't get up to pee.
Just peed.
Yeah, so like,
so you weren't peeing in the dream.
No, I didn't. So before y'all try to even do something, chop this up. Don't chop it up. Keep it together so the shit be in proper context. But even if I did pee in the bed, it would have been worth it for what I was seeing in this dream, probably. Because I now feel like I can be something greater than probably what I thought I could be before because this dream happened.
And not to cut you off real quick, but if you in the sky flying and you peeing in your dream, you peed on somebody. All right, go ahead. My bad. I'm sorry.
It could land on trees.
I digress.
Like this guy wants somebody to be a victim of my urine. No, but look.
A victim of the urine is crazy.
That's never happened either. So for y'all take this and chop.
You didn't gave a golden shower.
I've never.
Okay, go ahead.
Never. Not even interested in either. But no,
But you've been peed on. Okay, I'm sorry.
No, I haven't been peed on.
You from Chicago?
I haven't been peed. I
ain't gonna say the name of the guy, but we all know.
No, yeah, well, no, that's not a Chicago thing. That's he had a thing. You know, so I think they piano folk.
The man name not spoken of. We all know.
Yeah, and I ain't gonna put him out there.
So tell us about this dream. You in the sky flying?
So I'm in the sky, but I flew as high as I wanted. I remember flying above clouds, and I already, even when I get on the airplane, I'm always still in awe of the the pulchritude, the beauty of
This is the
sun
wordsmith, by the way,
and the
the
sky
pulchritude.
and the clouds, and to be above that, because my life has always lived beneath that, and it looks so peaceful up there, and it just the clouds naturally look soft, and it's
Yeah,
like
they do.
there's this
He
thing.
sings way better than that usually.
It's a captivating thing, and so I was up there in my dream, and I went out into space, and I looked around, and I saw the.
Wait, you made it to space?
I went out to space, but I was like. It was like how a rocket just shoots.
Yeah,
I had that.
it was Apollo.
I was a rocket human, and I was feeling it.
I'm a rocket man.
I was feeling the speed. I felt the air. I could hear the air in my ears. Like I was in it. You know what I'm saying? Then I was like, when I looked around, bro. I looked around. I looked at the clouds. I was like, no, I was above the clouds, and then I just went back to Earth, and then I started landing among people.
You're like Hancock.
Yes. But I'm standing around people, and the people that I was around, there was like something wrong. And I was there, and it was like I would speak with them, and suddenly the energy would change. And so a resolution came, and then I would just fly and take off. Like I would fly around the room, and then I go somewhere else.
And then you get drunk and pass out on the bench.
No, and then I go to another group of people, and I'm just around them, and it's just like just happiness, just this euphoric feeling came when I was with the people. And then once it was like extra different, like really nice, really I just
shoot off again, and then you realize the closer you got to the white woman, you lose your powers.
That actually happened.
See, you were Hancock.
How the fuck? No,
the prophet.
That didn't happen. I got him though. Y'all see, I got him. Y'all see, I just wanted to tap into that prophecy, see if I can, get him to think that what he was saying was really what was going on, and it worked. It worked, but nah, man, that was a.
So you were lucid dreaming.
Yeah, it was beautiful.
See, and this is the beauty about creating a list, and then sometimes natural conversation, you don't even have to type them. But I've always wanted to lucid dream, and I've always wanted.
You don't recall ever have done it?
I don't ever recall waking up.
Never lit this one.
I've never recall waking up and knowing I had a dream, but while I was in the dream, knowing that I knew I was dreaming. I never recall that, but I do know that it could have happened because a lot of times when I wake up, I remember the dream for like the first minute, 2 minutes of me waking up. And then if I don't think about it constantly or write it down or jot it down, gone. Gone like the wind.
A lot of time my dreams do occur that way. And I'm not, I'm not professing to have these sort of dreams frequently. I do recall having lucid dreams before.
What'd you do before you went to bed?
I don't remember.
So you weren't like intentional about having a lucid dream, and it just kind of happened.
No. But I have been before. Like I always, that's about having rich sleep. Like my sleep be good, but I'd have good sleep every night though. No, I haven't. I don't. This wasn't a time where I intentionally try to affect my dreams, but I have tried to affect my dreams before.
I like that. That's what's up. I hope to get there one day. Maybe my prophecy skills will lead me to that one day. And maybe I've done it and just not completely aware of it and woke up and forgot that I knew that I was dreaming while I was dreaming. Because when you hear people talk about lucid dreaming, kind of like how you talk about it, they be on some, I knew I was dreaming and I was able to control it. And
that's what it was.
I made myself do this.
Oh, I'm sorry. I missed it. I delve into the ocean too.
You saw shit? You saw Neymar?
I knew. I mean, everything looked real. Like nothing was animated. I knew I went down into the water.
Or nothing.
No, I was swimming past big fish and I saw coral reef and shit. And I came up out of the water. I went through all the elements, and I'm an earth sign. But I went through all the elements though. So I was very intentional about I want to use this energy, this propensity to fly. I want to use this in all ways. So I was enjoying it.
So how do you get high underwater?
Get high
underwater. You spoke seaweed. Okay, sorry.
That shit had me at a pause, but it didn't take long for me to get it. That was dope. Now, speaking of weed, you gonna like this weed? He
all
said
right.
That 16 minutes ago, you don't like that blah.
Well, as we were saying, as we went on our little 10-minute or so tangent, welcome. We said all that to say welcome. We just gave y'all a glimpse into like what our true personalities is. This is not like this isn't one of them podcasts where we coming on here and we're, faking the funk and trying to talk about shit that we don't really talk about, and
No, it's
dive into stuff that we don't talk about regularly on a regular day-to-day basis. We'll have conversations like this for 4 hours, and then eventually we was like, maybe people want to hear this sometimes.
That's how this kind of
came
about too.
And we've struggled with the name. We started off with what? Tell them the name that you gave me that I originally hit so hard. I was like, whoa.
Do we have to be strangers?
Do we have to be strangers? And the reason that hit so hard to me, because it's like a double-edged sword. It's like, it's a great question. And then we're starting on a new venture. So most people we will encounter that will become, I don't like to say fans, but like supporters and family, like, do we have to be strangers? Let's get to know each other.
Yeah.
You know what I'm
saying? And doing that through meaningful, substantive, authentic conversations.
Genuine
that
conversations.
Are also uncomfortable.
And
that I see a lot is just a struggle in relationships generally. Not even just between mates, companions, but between relatives, between coworkers. It's hard to have uncomfortable conversations. Oftentimes, people have grown up without certain standards and boundaries, and that's what makes it hard to be able to step over that space and say, or that line of demarcation of comfort and say, you know, hey, this makes me uncomfortable when you do this, or I want our relationship to be different. I know how we grew up, mama. I know how we grew up, bro, sis, but because of the way I'm changing, because of the way I'm maturing in my life, it requires me to have relationships operate a certain way, you know? And so I just
like that.
That is very difficult. Now I made it super plain the way I just said it, right? But people struggle with just saying that kind of thing in their own way.
And I want to piggyback off that because you spoke on when you say mama and the people that we're close with, that we want the shit to always be smooth with when we're talking and be at this happy, peaceful place. But a lot of times when we're growing, we need to have those uncomfortable conversations. I'm currently 26 now. I just turned 26 September. I was around 20 to 21 years old, and my mom had called me around my birthday to ask me what I wanted. And I was like, I told her, I'm like, I don't know, actually. And I was like, well, just give me something. I'm like, you my mom, you probably know me best. And she stopped. And she was like, actually, since you've been an adult, I don't think I know you. And then that
was his last birthday?
Nah, that was 21. That was my 20th, 21st birthday. And she says to me, as an adult, I don't really know who you are. I was out in college. I was barely calling home. We would talk maybe like once or twice a week type thing. And I was keeping it real vague because I was doing my college life thing. I was partying and drinking and smoking, all this stuff. I probably would have been not ashamed, but didn't really want to indulge with her. Like, yo, I'm out doing these things. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And it made me pause for a moment and made me realize I had to tell her, like, I don't know you. Like, I don't know who you are outside of you being my mom. I don't know you. And from that point on, we made it a point to have intentional, uncomfortable conversations as a mother-son. Because it was just me and her growing up for the most part. My brother was 10 years older, so when I was growing up, he was out college already. My dad didn't come into my life until 8th grade summer year. So for the most of our life, it was just me and her. And I only seen her as my mom, which grew to build a lot of resentment, you know, because I wanted to know why can't I do this? Why you raise me like this? Why you? And one of the most important conversations we ever had to deal with love. And I had to tell her that I think my relationship with love is as weird as it is because of you. And I told her that in a way where I wasn't like bashing her or pointing a finger at her, but being completely vulnerable and honest with myself. I was like, you didn't tell me you loved me a lot growing up. And her, in the moment, she was defensive. As she should, because she's my mom and she's hearing this. And she goes, but you felt it. And I go, it's funny you say that because that's how I operate now. I operate in a way that if you feel me love you, why should I have to say it? And I struggled so hard with like accepting the words and then saying it back. And it made me uncomfortable at times and uneasy and feel weird, like, why do I gotta say it? If I make you feel it, why do I have to say it? And you realize when you deal with people that you truly love, you have to meet them where they're at. So while she was the person I was dealing with at the time was trying to meet me where I was, I struggled with meeting her where she was because my relationship with love was so.
Would you say tarnished?
Tarnished, so unhealthy in a sense.
Yeah.
And we had to have that conversation, and then she stepped back maybe a day or two or a couple of weeks and realized, like, yo, you're right. And now, almost every time we get off the phone, she says it.
You know, that means so much to me to hear that. It's ineffable. Probably I don't have the right words to express what that mean to me. It's on the floor. Because man, I talk to so many different people who make the excuse for their loved ones that this is just the way they've always been.
This is what it is. This is how I've always been. Yeah.
And we always just accept that the way people have been, like it is as a reason to accept them continuing being that way. And they're only that way because you are the way you are about being in relationship with them. You accept certain things, you go along with certain things, you don't have a standard against certain things. So yeah, they are that way, but if you had different standards, they would operate differently with you. Your standards, if they were requirements, like it could be something so simple, like there are women that I know that say, I don't play the bitch word. There are women that say, I'm not the type of woman that be like, bitch, hey bitch, that's my bitch. They like, I've never been comfortable accepting that. Like my mama that type. That's just not her thing. Likewise. So, and she is not one that is particularly judgmental about women who are accepting of it and who do it.
She just don't like it.
Right. And I think we can do that as we use the word nigga. I think that's one of them words. Is if you can come to accept it, then you can almost come to accept a lot of different names and say, okay, this just means something else. You know, like these days, women call each other bruh. They used to say, girl. Now they call each other bruh. Like, whatever. Shit can change. But no.
You don't like when women call each other bruh.
Here's the thing with that. I think is men don't call each other sis.
Yes.
If bruh had a meaning. We can say the meaning changed, but there was a time where no woman in our culture was calling the women bruh. That was just 10 years ago. Women was not calling each other bruh.
But I think the default is and this may not, like you said, just because it's always been this way, don't mean it has to be right. But the default is always the masculine. Even when it comes to referring to God, we were never told God was a male, but yet we say he and him. You understand what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. So I feel like that plays a role in it.
And other things, but I also challenge the fact that we ain't all that great as communicators too.
We're not that great as communicators.
A lot of people don't know. They don't know. They don't know how to express themselves well enough. They don't have the vocabulary to. Like we need to generally just be smarter and be better communicators.
I agree.
So I think we default to a lot of ways of speaking because our vocabulary is low. Our sense of our basic understanding, communicating ideas is low. Like
our emotional intelligence and regulation is low. Hearing certain words and not being able to regulate yourself throughout the conversation to not take things personal is real low. That's like really, really low. That's why I think that's why there are so many acts of violence nowadays.
Yep.
You know what I'm saying?
Because they didn't have the expression to do that.
And on part of that, for so long, you had to talk with somebody in person, right? So that communication was constantly sharpening itself. We got to a point where we disengaged in person and started engaging online.
Yeah.
And you can talk to a motherfucker as crazy as you want to. You can say things you're not as comfortable as saying in person.
Right.
And that will alter your interactions with people in person. You then start speaking in a way and saying things in a way that you would have never said before. And when you're taking things in online, you have no way of qualifying someone's tone of voice, intentions per se. You only get the words. So when it's in person, you didn't have the practice of regulating your emotions from what was being heard. So when you get in person, You hear shit and I ain't gonna lie. I hate to say this, but it be niggas and it be old white men. Those are two. A crazy ass nigga, you go to a female and she decline you in the most humble way that she can. Not saying that all female do. Some females be talking crazy.
Yeah.
But we know them stories out there where all he heard was no, and from there, we know what happened next. Type shit. So I think our disengagement on a consistent person-to-person basis has a lot to do with our terrible communication styles.
Yeah, I think so too.
Terrible communication. And that kind of, unless you had another thought, that kind of leads me to what this first point you wanted to bring up was about politics. That shit is all about
it's a lot of that going
communicating. If you can't communicate, so what's your thought about the political sphere we're in right
now? I once heard that both the Democrat and the Republicans are two fangs on the same snake.
I like that.
And I came to understand that more over the past few years. There was a lot I saw in the Obama administration that when juxtaposed with the Trump administration, it is a reminder of how we need to, as a people, we need to cleanse our culture.
Cleanse our culture.
We need to change our standards about what's good and acceptable and what we want to promote. What do we really, and at the same time, not taking away nobody's rights, still people having the platforms to the opportunity on any platform to express what they want, but
not what they want. As long as it ain't causing for acts of violence or harm towards anybody.
Yeah.
I think that's what people be forgetting. You got freedom of speech, but you don't got freedom of consequence.
Yeah, so no matter what the consequence is, because
you got to accept what the consequence is that from what came out of your mouth,
and that makes you culpable of whatever.
Right, you shouldn't be jailed for having a free thought, but you should be jailed for having a thought that could harm. I don't know. I gotta think through that because
it's nuanced
because they got that attempt and conspiracy things.
Yeah.
So you don't even have to actually do the thing that you were talking about, but the fact that you talked about it makes it a crime.
Yeah,
so I don't know. I struggle with that.
Yeah, but then of course, in some scenarios, there's more subtle implications. Like for example, if you have someone like a president making a statement about a particular group and saying we need to not deal with them.
Yeah.
We need to castigate them. We need to avoid them. We need to use our power to stop them from this or that. When you say that as a president, that's different than saying it as Aaron.
That's very true because you give the green light for
you are the command. You already are the commander in chief. Many of the rioters who were apprehended on January 6th.
Okay,
they've been called far worse than rioters. Insurrectionists and they've been called.
Can we be honest though? I hate to cut you off, but can we be honest? That's just some shit niggas wish we had the balls to do.
Oh yeah, I agree.
Let's just be completely honest.
And this is what throws me off because I've heard some cogent positions on both sides of this institutional racism. When they say institutional racism, we're talking about discrimination that's put into practice against any group for discriminatory things. Now, the way they address these people,
yes,
I think every black person on the planet, with the exception of about 3 of them, believe that would have been handled differently if a gang of us like that,
bro.
Double digit.
That's what they would have called us too. Gangs, the thugs. Oh my gosh.
Double digit thousands breaking into the Capitol,
bro. We would have got shot.
You mean to tell me only it was gonna be more than just 2 people? What's that girl name? 2 people died that day. Yeah. Got some officers that got brain damage and can't hear and stuff like that. From
which they supposed to be pro blue. These supposed to be the pro blue people.
That's what I'm saying. So when they say it, there's no such thing as institute. Well, look at how these institutions respond to certain racial groups when they do something. They can do the same thing. First of all, no gang of black people finna do that much.
We can't get that far. We start moving like that, and
man,
they didn't know
y'all
about
there ready.
Man, what? Locked and loaded.
But you have the president of the United States who held the forces back.
He told him to do it too.
All he had to do was say, "Stop this immediately."
He told him to do it.
He did the opposite. He hyped them up.
And
said, "I'm gonna be there with you," and went and watched them. Man, look. So, and he's likely to be the president again. If he's not convicted, I think he's gonna be convicted of. He's already got enough going on.
He's gonna be. He would have been convicted of something, but he's gonna make it to where he's gonna become president before he go to trial type shit.
Well, that's these.
Not go to trial before the trial ends, and he gonna.
Okay, because the judges have arranged for this shit to.
They can arrange for whatever. They can keep holding shit up though, as long as it be cases that take years. You can tell me that they ain't no way they can make this case take years to where he make it to be the president, and then he just pardons himself.
They tried. The defense team did request for the judge to delay this because they said this is the middle of campaign season. The president wants the fair opportunity to campaign and campaign as all of the other potential candidates.
Now let's talk about the other side of it though.
Mm-hmm.
What if he is meant to shake up the establishment and we're watching the folk that we all go against fight against a person who could be on some real for the people type shit? Like, what if his claims are really real and I ain't saying this the best dude to do it, given some of his stances, but we've seen this in movies and we've seen this in real life where the person who's really for the people gets put in the media a way that they're this bad person to make them volatile, to make the people who then support them volatile and the outsiders.
Yeah.
And this is the way it should be for peace and the status quo. Which
I'm perfectly fine with a devil coming in and doing it. And when I say a devil, I'm not talking about that he's a white man.
Yeah.
I'm saying someone that has some
Dr. Umar,
some
white
some evil, some bad in them. That's not the thing. I say let's not lie about what's really going on. We can just say y'all letting them get away with stuff like we.
Just say like, yo, this the ex-president. We just.
I kind of lost thought because I started thinking about another aspect of this whole shit with them. But
what?
Man, the
that's what it's about. We're going tangents here.
Man,
y'all gonna see that a lot.
Yeah, it's just we just need to be organized, man. We need to get our shit together. Organized. We have to. We need to clean our house. We need to cleanse our culture.
I wrote that down. We got to do something. with that.
It's necessary. It's not. I'm not just opining that way because that's just some fantastical thought to have. We can, if we can just acknowledge that we can do better, then that's our starting place.
Right.
I'm not saying anything that's controversial or adversarial.
I don't think so.
We can do better. We should do better.
Yeah.
We ought to do better. I think all of those are reasonable things to postulate. And I think a lot of people can agree with that.
I think the first start is we need all black people to take a real ancestral DNA test. So that way we can literally start calling ourselves where we're from. This African is a whole continent.
Yeah.
Africa is a whole continent.
I think that's a good idea because it begins to personalize.
It personalizes you because that's what they took away, though. Yeah. Our human for so long. They took away our person for so long. You're not this person no more. This your new name.
But when you look at
what's your name?
Yeah,
Kuta.
Right. Right.
Your name's Toby. What's your name?
Beat it out of you. And so now it's just not in us because it wasn't in our grandmothers. It wasn't in our. They don't have it because it was beat out of their mothers. You know what I mean? So.
And then at some point, they didn't have to beat us no more. We taught ourselves not to know who we were so we wouldn't get beat. You see what I'm saying? We started teaching ourselves not to love ourselves.
Our children.
So we could survive. We had to teach ourselves not to love ourselves to survive. That's
or to be detached from where you come from.
Yes.
Like right now, we got relatives there right now.
Yeah.
Somewhere that's somebody that, bro, they are connected to your mama.
Right. That's why the slavery was a choice shit was so off kilter to so many people.
Off kilter.
I try being around you, man. I have to work on it.
Off kilter, that nigga said.
Cause he didn't account for the
savage, brutal way that happened.
It's like a word you don't even have in your dictionary yet to like use for the dehumanization of the people that we just call slaves. I hate when people say the slaves. No, these were enslaved humans. Like these were people that were enslaved. These were not just slaves.
Yeah,
you know what I'm saying?
There's a difference,
and it's not like these were. It's not like, and I'm happy we're on this topic because I've been working on something and work with me here, right? This is like if the Israel Hamas shit is like what it would be like if the Native Americans decided to go to war with the United States of America. The people who truly been here decide to just bomb the White House randomly one day or bomb the Capitol. I'm not saying that they should. We're going to post this. It's going to be out in the ecosphere.
Right.
I'm never causing for people to die. That's never the option. But I'm saying if the Native Americans will come to the table like, yo, so long ago y'all did us wrong. Y'all gave us these little pockets in America that's supposed to be ours, but they're deprived of basic resources because you guys own everything else around it. We want what's rightfully ours. And we're willing to pay for it or whatever it may be. And America says no. And America keeps taking more and more land and doing the oil and putting the pipelines through their rivers so they don't have working water. And they decided to be like, yo, we're gonna go to war. That's what it would be like. Because then you'd have to pick a side like, yo.
So that's why the Hamas is.
If you know anything, I had to do some research within the last 2 to 3 weeks. Extensive. Listening to podcasts, listening to video documentaries. They both were inhabitants of this land. It's the truth. They're all the sons of Abraham. Judah, all of them, they're all the sons of Abraham, right? So they all own parts of this land. But the problem is that when the Jews were kicked out of Germany during the Holocaust and they decided to come back to the land, they came back and tried to take all the land.
Okay.
You see? Came back and tried to take all the land and then pushed the Palestinians to Gaza and the West Bank. And that's all you get for the most part. You got other parts, but for the most part, that's what y'all get.
But it's for them, it's like this was our shit in the beginning. Y'all came and just supplanted and took over and we left, right?
Not necessarily. It's always been Christians, Muslims there.
Okay.
Arabs of all kind. It's always been that. And the problem is that it's the Ashkenazi Jews that's trying to, which are the white Jews that we see now with what they call the long noses and stuff like that, that own, quote unquote, own Hollywood. Those are the ones that's trying to say that they own that land, which is not true. You see what I'm saying?
Got it.
There's the African Jews and the Arab Jews of the Middle East, which technically was a part of Africa.
Yep. I think so too.
You know, so that's what this whole political climate is crazy when you tie it back into that because we ain't gonna never get the real. America has never even officially apologized for slavery. So when you look at it from that point, they try to wonder why don't black people vote? Well, we fucked either way.
Yeah.
Now I do think voting at the local level is very important. If we controlled our defense attorneys, our judges, our mayors, our governors and shit like that, our attorney generals,
we can shape policy. That influence social.
That then influence culture. The federal government. Then we start sending in. That's a part of the little plan that go along with the youth shit.
Yeah,
we teach kids that initially want to be into law and politics. We teach them this is how you do it, and we funnel our own youth into law and politics that become governors and mayors of these different cities and stuff. That way, you start affecting, like you said, policies, and then now we start going into Congress. Now we are Senates and House of Republicans. And then we start to get more, I don't think we're going to make it this far, but then we start getting more black presidents. I'm a little cynical. I don't think we got that much longer left on earth.
I think we would have to organize in a way where if you just look around, man, every other group has a sense of connection
to each other,
village and community, and working together, we're a lot more segregated, and that's why we're gonna. If we don't organize there first, we have to, and we, of course, if we unpack that, we'll peel back to some of the layers on that. Is gonna be that. What do we think about ourselves?
What do we think about ourselves?
What do we feel about ourselves? What do we feel about our position and our place in our world, in the world, and in our relationships? And man, it's gonna start there on a basic level, fundamentally. But then you expand that more amongst community, where we start to just think differently. We're hearing a message that says, let's start thinking different about ourselves and thinking differently about relationships. Let's just take the baby steps, the everyday steps, the moment to moment, not just the day to day. I always dispel day to day. It's so much that happens in a day.
Right.
You literally got to do this shit moment by moment. And because there's a constant stream and flow of thought throughout the day. And so I tell people it's the moment by moment shit that you're doing that's really making the difference. And that comes with thinking differently, having different thought patterns and different ideas, being exposed to fresh ideas and being challenging our own way of thinking, testing our own beliefs and conclusions about stuff. Like, why do I think that way? Does that make sense to think that way? Well, why do I think that makes sense?
Right.
Really challenging our own self to be able to, so we could stand more firmly on the things we say. We can be better leaders, but we also live better lives personally because we orient ourselves and being clear and being dynamic like that.
I like that. And I think I agree wholeheartedly. And I think this is a good segue to our next topic, which was going to be understanding control versus power.
Mm-hmm.
And what does that mean? And I thought about this maybe some years ago while I was in college. I was like, I can have the power that resonates in me and know exists in me without having to control everything around me. You feel what I'm saying? Because what is going to be, And I struggled with that for so long because for some reason, I don't know what it is, karmic debt, we'll call it what you want. I had a controlling, and I still struggle with having like a controlling personality about like my surroundings and how shit goes and how when I got my mindset made up, how shit is supposed to be. And then I had to realize, like, lean not on thine own understanding type shit. You know what I'm saying? Like, if I settle everything about how I understand it and what it's supposed to be, then I'm not even allowing myself to think about how so many other things could be. You know what I'm saying? And how what my source, which I'm connected to, could be having planned out. You know what I'm saying? Does that make sense?
Yeah.
So I had to realize my power does not lie in the ability to control. And I have to be able to separate the two.
Yeah.
What's your thoughts?
I think that power is a collective of the things that give you the ability to effectuate that energy, that force is your power. That may come from your unique way of expressing things. It may come from your extroverted personality qualities. It may be because your clarity of thought or your ability to attract and relate to people or get people to whatever that force is. That package is your power. Control is being able to have an effect on another, on something outside of yourself. You have to, if you're in control of something, you have to be dominant over something. You have to be in the lead over something. You have to be the force that's effectuating something. So I feel like you, man. That. Like I don't think. I mean, in people that are secure in what their powers are, what their propensities are, they don't need to fake and pretend like they got other powers and other abilities, and they don't have to get caught up in being mesmerized about someone else or being envious about somebody else. You can admire other people's qualities and powers and say, "Wow, this person's really powerful at this. They're really good at this. They're really
not even admire them. You can be inspired by it.
Which is even better than actually hating on them or like because you use that to really enhance yourself.
Right.
You literally can take that same energy, just changing it up with change of perspective. you can take that same energy that you put toward envying someone, and you can be inspired by it.
Yep.
Because when you're
that's
envying
really
someone,
what you are.
Yeah, right. Ooh. And you have to shift the thinking so that it's not envy.
Yeah.
Because you then begin to think, I can achieve, I can attain, I can obtain, I can engender, I can create. And so
let's go from why to I can. Why not to I can? I like that.
That, man, that's what I'm talking about. It goes back. That's what the program gonna be about, bro. You see how what we're doing right now? I've laid out the framework of having the conversation with these children, with these teens, with these preteens, and getting them to be critical thinkers.
Yeah,
we're just being we're gonna present opportunities to have these kind of conversations with them in a, in a way that's gonna be palatable for them.
Yeah, we're gonna need activities.
Right, because we're gonna do demonstrations. So we're like, hey, okay, who, like pulling them in. I play acting scene with them. Me and you'll do acting scenes.
Having them. I think the biggest.
Because you say you can act, right? You
I feel like I've been.
No, he did like this. He said,
I've been in place.
Wait till we play this back. Hey, hold on, I gotta remember this.
He's so funny.
46
you could have looked at it right here.
46 minutes on the okay. Yeah. This is epic. Let me 46. Let me put 40. I want you.
He is an actor, I guess. He has this.
I mean, I've
boisterous personality.
He said boisterous. I don't know if I like boisterous. Let me look. All right, go ahead and talk about some boisterous.
I've been in a few plays.
Okay, I'm sorry. Go ahead.
I've been in a few plays, but I'm not like a trained actor. I've never I feel like I can act. And I feel like if I focus my time on it and did it really, like, disciplined, got real disciplined with it, I could do it. I could be really good at it. I feel like that. But I feel like that about most things, though. And that actually, we are making some really great segues, actually, because the next thing was about self-control and discipline. And it's not about necessarily the difference between these two, but it's more like the role that each other play. Because I think with disciplines comes self-control, and with self-control comes discipline. You know what I'm saying? Not being. What are you doing?
This actually really is important, but I'm here.
Oh,
in a natural moment.
Yeah. So I realized the more disciplined I became, the more self-control I could have over different things, and the more self-control I was gaining over different areas of my life, the more disciplined as a human I was becoming. Waking up at times, I tell myself I'm wake up, doing things when I'm gonna say I'm gonna do things.
Yeah.
Because when you reach an adult level, you under your own control power. You know what I'm saying? Like,
yeah, especially when you used to having it that way too.
Yeah, you living alone and shit. You can say you're gonna wake up at 9 o'clock, but who the fuck? If you don't feel like waking up at 9 o'clock, you don't have to wake up at 9 o'clock. You only you become beholden to yourself. And that
your own words.
Yes.
It ain't gotta just be what you told somebody else.
Right.
What did I say to myself?
Right. And so that's where the discipline part comes in, and it helps me gain more self-control. What are your thoughts?
Well, anytime like we take that kind of charge of our lives and our destiny and our fate and our what we say we're gonna do, and man, I'm all for it. I'm all for it, man. So I rock with the way you thinking on that, bro.
How do you no, but
how do you
woo. That was hard though.
It was like perfect amount of time. Didn't even.
What's the hardest part about discipline, man?
The hardest part about discipline is fighting the consumption or the entertainment or the interaction with doing anything with anything that you shouldn't really be doing. It's cutting yourself off some things that give you pleasure even though you shouldn't have them. It's cutting off and severing yourself from things that don't align with who you're becoming. It comes with a detachment from certain relationships and certain things and certain foods and sex sometimes and whether you watch porn or not, that like it comes with the denial of some of your carnal inclinations.
I like that. I like that. I like that, bro. I think this has been pretty good for our first podcast.
Oh man, I'm loving it, bro.
I think that I'm just having some free thoughts over here. Shout out to the other one. Love, man. I'm just thinking about love because almost everything we talked about kind of boils down to love. Love is like the, I was about to say glue, but love is more like the water. Love is the water of the earth. Because without it, we can't operate. And when we do operate, it'll all be out of need. Because we don't have the love, you're always operating out of need. You know? For something. And I read a dope quote that says, desire is not the only route to pleasure. And I had to think about that for a minute. I'm like, desire. It's not the I was like, can your pleasure come from things that you don't necessarily desire? For yourself.
Yeah, I think so. Like, so for example, when we give our bodies nourishment, I mean, not just something to eat,
right?
But nourishment,
good stuff.
It may not be the thing that we craved.
It's not your desire, but it's pleasurable.
Which speaks to the desire, the strong wanting part of it. Cool. But to have put something in it that your cells and your body, your systems are gonna get good use out of, that brings the body into a better state of being and functioning. So I think that's a perfect example of where you don't need to desire to get pleasure from it. The body does get pleasure from that. Right. And oftentimes we'll find that we feel better when we make better choices. Right. It might not even be in alignment with what we initially wanted. Right. It might not be the Philly cheesesteak, but when you ate something different, that salad was like, damn, man, I wanted that at first, but this, I don't feel heavy. I don't feel bloated. I don't feel this. I'm not it'd be all of these other manifestations that come from these better choices. And that's the body's relief. It's respite from the shit we put in ourselves. And so I think that's just an example of an instance or a type of situation where there's pleasure that didn't come by way of desire.
And I think that's what it has to go back to, like having discipline and self-control and love. Because if you love yourself, things that aren't good to you but are good for you are pleasurable. But when you are solely stuck in like that want phase, that I want this, I need this so bad, I want it so bad that I feel like I need it, even though that's why I was reluctant to use the word need, because you don't need it, but you want it so bad. And when you're stuck in that phase, you're almost willing to do anything to get that hit, versus like stepping out of the desire and stepping into yourself and loving yourself enough to know that the things that are good for you, that it does the body well, but don't necessarily taste good or feel good. It may even cause you pain, but still brings you pleasure because you're looking at the end goal of like love in your life. Mm-hmm. You know what I'm saying? You love yourself enough that you want to be there for the people that you also love. And the only way you can do that is if you take care of yourself.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I thought about that, man. It was in my little planner that I was writing in. I was like, yo, I've reached a point at such a young age where I'm not perfect. I got desires that I still go do, and sometimes they're not the best for me and don't have the best outcomes.
Yeah.
But I'm at a place where I'm self-aware enough to stop sometimes and like, yo, nah. You know what I'm saying? Or I can realize that a lot of my pleasurable things have nothing to do with me desiring it, but I've disattached the desire from like the dopamine hit to like the delayed gratification part of it. Mm-hmm. It's not gonna feel good right now, but shit, 2 weeks from now, the fact that I did this, and this that hurt, 2 weeks from now, that shit gonna feel great. Kind of like the gym is like the best analogy for that.
Yeah,
this shit hurt. Fuck, when I first started this shit hurt. I started this new exercise. Go home, your abs hurting, your hamstrings hurt, you can't walk up the stairs. Keep doing it for 2 more weeks. Do it for a month.
Yeah.
Watch how good it feels.
Right. I still find the most simple but profound fascination with watching, and I work with kids, so y'all, I've been in schools for some years,
We
so
both do.
I see this, but they always get the the little cup with the caterpillars in it, and they're excited, and I'm excited with their motherfucking asses because it's like this transformation is about to be something that I never have lost the ability to marvel at. And so to see them eat and grow, and then to go into this chrysalis, and then to come out with this new ability, this new talent, this new
To fly.
thing that you couldn't have done before your transformation. And it changes the trajectory of your life permanently. Like that, to have that butterfly in my hand and to let it go.
Let
It's
it
like,
go.
where are you going? What do you do? What, how's the rest of your day gonna go? Like, maybe I wouldn't, if a camera could follow that butterfly, maybe I wouldn't watch the whole thing just out of curiosity. But I would love to see snippets that even added up into like 10 minutes. I'd gladly watch to see how it went to that night before the next day, before the for the next day. I would be interested, and then just a camera view, like, damn, look how far it flew, because maybe that dream has permanently affected me. Like, to see, I saw everything. I saw everything as birds see, and
And
I'm
let me
like,
add a fun fact into your beautiful. That's beautiful. The transformation journey. The butterfly, if it does not break itself out of the cocoon, won't be able to fly because its wings won't be strong enough. So if it had somebody else break itself out of its cocoon,
right,
it loses its ability to fly.
mm-hmm.
And that goes to the transformation journey. You gotta go through that shit.
Yeah.
You gotta feel that shit
To become,
to become.
and to become able, which is my favorite definition of prevail. I The name of my company is Prevail Through Change, and when I came up with that name, it really wasn't some serendipitous by luck sort of thing. I thought about it, um, and I looked up Prevail, and of course, you got definitions like to overcome, but the one that struck me and I was at a pause with was to become able.
To become able.
To prevail.
To become able.
To become able. Through change.
Through change. To become able.
Through change. Now that through change is two different ways you can look at that. Through, in the sense of actually going like inside, like an experience happening to you. Like, I'm going through this car buying process. I'm going through, like, in the midst of, like, going through change, prevailing, becoming able as you're going through these changes of life.
Yeah.
And then the expression that to become able only by going through change. It's two different ways I thought of that. Because I know that change is uncomfortable, and change challenges, and change has these
Change is so uncomfortable,
unsettling valleys, and it's like, and so we oftentimes avoid it, and because it pushes us away from familiarity and what we're accustomed to, and we oftentimes don't have a plan for how to be that new version of ourselves that is required for whatever life is demanding of us.
Yeah.
And so it's easy to retreat toward, I know the way this goes. I know how this is. I know how to do this. I just think we're going to age quicker if we don't keep
Prevail
these
through
brains
change.
learning. Yeah.
I like that, man. I like that.
Yeah, I got, man, these hoodies and shit, man. I want us all to have these. Some this emblem is special, man. That's what these tattoos mean to me.
Yeah.
So I got two of them. Symbol that comes from Ghana, Africa, and a Dinkra symbol. It means transformation.
And a Dinkra symbol.
Yeah, a Dinkra.
A Dinkra. So we reached the end. I think this was a Pretty good discussion for our first time, man. We appreciate anybody who listens to this all the way through.
You hit it on the head, bro, because I was just about to tell him. We don't take it lightly that you're with us. We don't.
We should put like, like, Aaron does a little bit of life coaching. Not a little bit. Aaron does.
Yeah.
Sorry, I didn't mean to say it like
right.
that. Aaron does life coaching. I make custom clothing. Name of my business is called Free Customs. If you made it all the way to the end of this podcast, and you let me know if you with this. If you made it all the way to the end of this podcast, and however you found out through this podcast, you DM us, you message us somehow, we're gonna hook them up with something.
We got you. Definitely got you.
For like 2 people.
Right. As we said in the beginning, you could have been anywhere. And so with all that's been said, you remain with us because there was something was resonant with you. Something was not in and out. It stayed with you. Even now, there's this one thing or these particular things that we said. It's got you ruminating. It's got you pondering. It's got you considering. It's got you thinking.
Right.
Got you curious. Got you intrigued. What now?
What now?
And what now? We got to act. We have to act. We have to become. We have to do. And don't project that date out. Start now. Start now. Start now with just thinking differently about it. That's where you start. Before many of the things we ever do, we've thought much about it first.